A Fox News alert, a worst-case scenario in Israel coming true, as its military confirms that Hamas terrorists are holding a significant number of Israeli civilians and soldiers hostage in the Gaza Strip. A senior Hamas leader now claiming they've captured enough Israeli captives to free all Palestinian prisoners in the country's jails. Counterterrorism expert Aaron Cohen is a former member of the Israeli Defense Force, and he joins us now. Aaron, I've wanted to hear from you since this began. How did this happen? First of all, based on your experience, and what happens next?
Well, how this happened was this was a lot of planning by Hamas. This was an operation that has taken years, in my personal belief. And I believe that Hamas, being a terrorist organization, executed an offensive with surprise, with cunning, poise, and audacity. And however embarrassing it is to say that, the facts is that there were intelligence failures. I don't think now is the time, Pete, to point the finger at any of the intelligence apparatus in Israel. But we are seeing multiple hostage sieges, both in Israel and now in Gaza.
How do you handle this? So there are 600 Israelis now dead. That's new this hour. That number keeps going up. You've got hostages in Gaza, in tunnels or in hospitals, wherever they hide them as human shields. What should Israel do in the face of this overwhelming onslaught?
Well, so Pete, I just want to make it very clear to your viewers that Israel invented, or was one of the masters of hostage rescue. They ended up performing one of the most spectacular hostage rescue raids in 1976, when 106 Israeli hostages were taken prisoner to Entebbe, Uganda by Black September. They were freed by Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's former Special Operations Tier 1 unit, also known as the General Staff Reconnaissance Unit. It's called Sayeret Matkal in Hebrew. Israel invented or perfected the hostage rescue game. And what we're going to see now is Israel doing what it does best, and it's complicated. There's two different fronts here that Israel has to deal with. There's the hostages that are currently being held inside of Israel, and there's hostages that are now being held in Gaza, whether they're in tunnels or in buildings or in apartments. There's footage of it floating all over the internet. For the sieges that are taking place inside of Israel, those are better scenarios. And the reason why is because they're sterile. It allows the Israeli Special Operations units, the Yamam, which is their Israel National Police hostage rescue team, among one of the top 3 in the world, and that General Staff Reconnaissance Unit, to be able to slow things down. They've got time. This is sterile inside of Israel. So they can take their time, they can negotiate, and they can tire out the terrorists so that they can get better shots on those targets and be able to make those entries, reducing risk to teammates and to the hostages. Now, the situation in Gaza is much more complicated. It's almost like a crime scene. The longer Israel waits to be able to conduct those hostage rescues in Gaza, the longer the terrorists have to move around those hostages, which makes it more difficult for our Mossad and our Shin Bet security, our intelligence agencies, to find them. So Israel has to work very quickly to be able to strike those targets. And I believe that they're going to use, or have to use, the fog of this counteroffensive to be able to use it as a smokescreen for Sayeret Matkal and the Yamam to be able to go and strike those targets as quickly as possible. The longer they wait, the more those hostages are going to get moved around, the more sick they're going to get, the more tired they're going to get, and the more the Hamas will be able to continue to build layers in between the Israeli intelligence agencies and those hostages. So time is of the essence. And I believe that you're going to see Israel dial things up and do what they do best, which is selective operations using disguise, using surprise, and using audacity and tenaciousness. And let me tell you, those assets, they're on par with Delta Force. They're on par with DevGru or SEAL Team 6. The Israelis are finely tuned machines when it comes to these operations.
Really amazing breakdown. Nobody knows it better and has been involved in it firsthand. Aaron Cohen, thank you for that breakdown.
Thanks so much, Pete.
Really appreciate it.